Every law has an author. Every international treaty, every economic framework, every global institution, someone wrote the first draft. Not a government. Not an elected body. A private organization with no public mandate and no democratic accountability. And they've been writing the rules since 1884. The United Nations. The World Bank. The International Monetary Fund. None of these institutions emerged from popular demand. Each one was designed in private meetings, by private organizations, before any government officially proposed them. The blueprints existed before the buildings. 3 organizations. 1 method. They never held public office. They never faced an election. But the policies they drafted in private became the architecture of the modern world. Tonight we follow the paper trail, from closed meeting rooms to international law. From handwritten proposals to binding global agreements. Everything documented. Everything verifiable. London. January 4, 1884. 9 people gather and form a society with a precise strategic philosophy, not violent revolution, but gradual infiltration of existing institutions. Patient. Methodical. Invisible. They named the strategy permeation. Their coat of arms, documented, preserved, on display at Beatrice Webb House in Surrey to this day, was a wolf in sheep's clothing. Among the early members who shaped the society's direction, George Bernard Shaw, H.G. Wells, Beatrice and Sidney Webb, Bertrand Russell, Emmeline Pankhurst. Not politicians. Writers, economists, activists. The Fabians didn't storm Parliament. They wrote the books and pamphlets that future parliamentarians studied. In 1895, 11 years after founding, 4 Fabian members established the London School of Economics. The institution that has trained generations of policymakers worldwide. New York. July 29, 1921. A group of diplomats, lawyers, bankers and academics file incorporation papers for a new organization. Its stated purpose: to give American leaders a private forum to discuss foreign policy outside government structures. Its founding honorary president, Elihu Root, former U.S. Secretary of State. Among its first members, John Foster Dulles, future Secretary of State. The Council on Foreign Relations is born. New York. July 29, 1921. A group of diplomats, lawyers, bankers and academics file incorporation papers for a new organization. Its stated purpose: to give American leaders a private forum to discuss foreign policy outside government structures. Its founding honorary president, Elihu Root, former U.S. Secretary of State. Among its first members, John Foster Dulles, future Secretary of State. The Council on Foreign Relations is born. 1973. David Rockefeller, then chairman of Chase Manhattan Bank and longtime CFR member, co-founds a new organization with Zbigniew Brzezinski. The Trilateral Commission. Its purpose: coordinate policy between North America, Western Europe and Japan, privately, by invitation only. Brzezinski becomes its first executive director. 3 years later, President Jimmy Carter, himself a founding trilateral member, appoints Brzezinski as National Security Advisor. In 1975, the Trilateral Commission published its most significant document, The Crisis of Democracy. Written by Samuel Huntington of Harvard, Michel Crozier and Joji Watanuki. Huntington's core argument: Western democracies were suffering from an excess of democracy. Too many citizens making too many demands that governments could not fulfill. The report proposed that democratic participation needed to be moderated. This was not a leaked document. It was an official Trilateral Commission publication, republished by New York University Press and available in public libraries. 3 organizations. 3 different eras. 1 identical mechanism. A private body develops a policy framework. Members of that body move into government positions. The framework becomes official policy. Official policy becomes international agreement. International agreement becomes binding law. At no point is the originating private organization cited in the official legislative record. The Fabian Society helped build the British welfare state and co-founded the Labour Party. The CFR shaped American foreign policy doctrine from the Marshall Plan through the post-Cold War era. The Trilateral Commission coordinated economic frameworks across 3 continents. The timeline is consistent. 1884, Fabian Society founded. 1895, Fabians established the London School of Economics. 1900, Fabians co-found the Labour Party. 1921, CFR incorporated in New York. 1947, CFR members central to the Marshall Plan architecture. 1973, Trilateral Commission founded. 1977. Trilateral members hold the presidency, vice presidency, and key cabinet positions simultaneously in the Carter administration. The Washington Post noted it at the time. This is documented public record. What these three organizations share is not secrecy for its own sake. It is structural advantage. When you write the first draft of any idea, in any field, you determine the vocabulary, the framing, the acceptable range of debate. Governments inherit that frame. Legislatures debate within it. Populations vote inside it. David Rockefeller stated in his 2002 memoirs, without apology, that he was proud to be part of an effort to build a more integrated global political and economic structure. That memoir is in public libraries. The evidence was never hidden. It simply wasn't looked for. The rules you follow were written by people you never elected. The institutions you trust were designed in meetings you never heard about. This is not a theory. It is public record, in membership lists, in published reports, in memoirs, in congressional archives. The most durable power in modern history has never needed to announce itself. It wrote the first draft. And the first draft won. There is a follow-up to this story. The next file covers the Reese Committee, a 1953 U.S. congressional investigation into whether major American foundations were coordinating to shift American society toward collectivist values. The investigation was shut down before completion. The chief investigator, Norman Dodd, gave one recorded interview about what he found, in 1982, to G. Edward Griffin. That interview still exists. That's next.